essay government, I believe, is what it's called. The University of Rochester essay government.
I can't hear.
Yeah, I just turned on audio, so it might take a little bit to catch up with that. I'm also going to check.
Oh, they can hear us.
We can. Essay government, I believe, is what it's called. Okay,
Okay, let's turn that off.
let's turn that off.
Just checking something. Check. We should be good. Yeah, please. Yes. Oh, yes.
Sure. I do like all those too.
Especially.
Oh,
Oh, right. Where? Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is the annual presidential debate, and we have two tickets here with us tonight. We are going to be having these two tickets. We'll be taking turns. But first, before we start, we had talked to the candidates, so I would like to talk to the audience as well. Hi, Kenneth, how are you? No, it's good to see you tonight. I just want to remind the audience of our And we are wanting this to be a good debate where people are debating the ideas, the things the candidates are running on, the things that they would like to see them like. This is not something where we're trying to put down the candidates personally or any attacks that are personal. We're really about the ideas. We're really about wanting it to be a good debate where we really understand more about what they stand for, what they're going to see for our campus community. And so that we have the best understanding, if you get your vote, you feel good about the people you're voting for, that they're voting for the kinds of things that you would stand up here. So can y'all tell if you're going to be paid tonight and respond to that? Chelsea is so wonderful. Oh, I should say first, I'm Anne Marie, serving as the intermediate student on the campus, and happy to be your moderator tonight. And Chelsea Bam is our wonderful election coordinator. It was a shock, so thank you for checking for Chelsea, because it's a lot of work and people don't understand how much there is that really goes into that role. So she will be helping with the timekeeping, and she's also going to be helping with the cards. So there are index cards on the corners of the group, and you are welcome to write in questions. The questions you're writing in will be for both candidates. You're not asking for one specific candidate, it would be for both. And Chelsea, you would, after you write it up, give it to Chelsea, she'll give it to Brian will give it to me in the section where I'm doing that. So the first thing we'll be doing is I will be drawing who will be going first, and the tickets will be giving their opening statements. They will be getting 3 minutes to do their opening statements. After that, there will be a round of questions that will be for someone for the president candidate and someone for the vice president candidate. So they will answer those will be 2-minute responses. And Chelsea will be keeping us on time. Keeping that, she will give the signals that maybe they time so that they can finish up their work. And then there will be time for the set of questions that you might have from the audience. So we got in around for that. And then there will be a rapid fire round. Candidates will have 15 seconds to respond. After all of the questions debate, you will have wonderful refreshments in the lobby. And that's another opportunity for you to mix and mingle and get to know the candidates a little bit more, or maybe probably if there was something you said that you didn't have to expand on, you can have that question. Good. All right, get started then. Those are really nice. Danny and Dominique is going to go first. So if you, Danny Randall and Dominique Barnett with the ticket, and they will be having 3 minutes to go in and tell you about their ticket.
Here at Tampa Bay. I'm currently majoring in PPE, which stands for politics, philosophy, and economics. Right now I'm a student. I play football, the football team. I'm part of the MSAT, secretary on MSAT, and secretary of BSAT. I'm here because I want to help enhance the community and make things better.
Good evening.
So I'm Dominique Barksdale. I'm a freshman here. I'm majoring in biology and business. I'm also a clinical nursing student. So if you want to talk to DD&M, I love to talk about it and find out the DD&M students. I'm also the secretary of WLA here on campus. On the club basketball team here, and I'm excited to be here today. I'm hoping to bridge the gap at the University of Rochester, kind of just make it more inclusive and just build the community up. So I'm gonna pass it back over to Sandy.
Thank you. One of our goals here is their connection from different class years and majors, ensuring every student has support of network. So basically, I would like I notice how these seating arrangements are separate right now. Like nobody needs to mingle in. I don't really like that. You know, I feel like it shouldn't be like this, but it is what it is. Another thing I would like to hit on is I want to advocate for improved campus safety. With that, I believe that it's sickening to see. I have a job at this job at DPS, and I see a lot of drunk students, and it's sickening to see that it's not even U of R students bringing these kids back to campus, Like it's people from random schools and just like friends and trying to drive them up. It's sort of sickening to see. But I did see recently that SA has like you can call like the DPS officer and it's great. I think that's a great move that you guys have done. So I give you guys. Then the last thing that we're going to hit on here is dining plan. I think that it is really disgusting that we have metal in our food. It's $3 for guacamole, and pizza is really thin and salty. I think we pay way too much for beef here in that case. Then with that as well, I think we can enhance the school spirit. Like I want to bring something back to spirit. It's called the Hive in the path that they've had, and I think that would be great. And we need to have better merch, like more cheaper merchandise. I believe Barnes and Noble is way over $60 for a T-shirt. You're crazy for college students. Like yo, and that's what.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Angela Gregory. I'm a member of the class of 2026. I'm double majoring in economics and political science with minors in business and philosophy. I'm a current SA vice president and a former SA senator. Outside of SA and my classes, which take up the brunt of my time here, I'm a student alumni ambassador. I'm a member of the Medallion Leadership Society. I'm a Melior Scholar, a Simon Scholar, a tour guide, a research assistant for the political science department. I work at the Campus Information Center, so the really nice desk in Wilco, and I'm on the committee for political engagement. And I'm running to be your next SA president.
Hi everyone. First class 27. I'm double majoring in neuroscience, the neighborhood society, and currently the student advisor for the DEI committee at SA. I also serve on the Brain and Cognitive Sciences DEI committee, the Student Organization Review Board, the Student Advisory Board on the Susan B. Anthony Center, and I'm part of the Medallion program, and I'm also a Melior Scholar, and I'm actually running to be your next SA vice president. So though we both have a combined track record across a lot of different areas of change on campus, whether that be in places like dining, transportation, academic affairs, DEI, UHS, arts housing, we as leaders and individuals are continually evolving, and that means that our capabilities and efforts will only continue to expand. Our past, current, and upcoming impacts have been tangible and collaborative, with a vision that's human-centered and student-oriented. While being aware of the inevitable challenges that will try to derail our term as they impact our community, we're people that will stay true to our values, visions, and goals for SA as we hope to highlight to you all tonight.
The goals that lives that I seek to hold next year are not easy in the slightest. I know that because I've done Daniel Rodriguez tested that as well. It's hard, it's time consuming, it's stressful, it takes precedence of your academics, your social life, and at times it's thankless. It's not a job to take lightly at all. And we are well aware of that. As you observe throughout this debate, in the experience that we have, the actions we have taken, the projects we've accomplished, the knowledge that we have learned, and the visions and values that we hold, I implore you to ask yourself who you wish to serve in these roles next year. We're ready to take this on. We have no gimmicks, no slogans. We're just two people with proven results, skills, knowledge, and relationships to hold these positions and work meaningful change, even around the university with president and vice president next year. We believe that our qualifications are self-evident, and we look forward to showing you all what we have done, but also what we aim to accomplish. And we're excited to continue down the road of our unwavering commitment to serving the student body, and we hope you all will join us in this journey. Thank you.
Thank you to both candidates for staying with your allotted times and very well done. Question for our presidential candidate. There was a line to start that ticket. Line, could you please answer what is the top issue currently facing the student body and how should it be addressed?
There's a lot of issues, but if I were to just pick one that we face, it's the disservice from administrating, both in communication and in accountability. So I'll start with communication. There's various methods of communication. There's convoluted emails, students not knowing where to find proper information, leaving things out, not telling us when things happen. There's really no trust without transparency that exists from our administration, the people that control this university. that's something that needs to be drastically fixed. We have a new communications and marketing vice president in Wallace Hall. This is someone that Dan and I have worked with this year, and I hope to continue to work with next year. It's a really novel and integral position that I think can be extended throughout the university, both to different vice presidential roles within the senior administration, but also different campus organizations, campus centers, departments, et cetera. On accountability, there isn't trust in providing services to students. It's blatant. We have a growing student body. The class of 2024 is smaller than the 3 classes right now. They will graduate and will only grow in our student size. So there's no trust between UHS, dining, the housing lottery, insufficient transportation, the Department of Public Safety. There's no trust in what happens because the services that we provided are inadequate and underserving us. But there can be no exceptional undergraduate experience that is touted throughout the university's strategic plan as one of their 5 main tenets. They have trust in the university, both in the communication and the accountability that they give us, as we are going to pay to be here, and they're the ones that should be serving us. And we continue to advocate that for this year and for next year.
Thank you.
So one issue that I think is huge is currently the dining room and the meal plan. I think that it is absurd that the food here served, that for what we pay, I have 2 images that pass around everyone. These are pictures from students, by the way. I didn't just take all these and just go on random days, and these are all throughout certain years. So I want people to realize this is bigger than us. This change is bigger than us. It's bigger, and it's for the future. Another thing with this going on with the dining and the meal plans is I want to do retail swipes and dining hall swipes. So with that, the retail swipes, I want to make Hillside, I want to figure out the certain amount of things that every student needs in Hillside for a week. And then we make swipes off of a week, because it is ridiculous that students can't get milk and people are hungry and starving because that's food is being stuck in our dining halls. That's one issue that needs to be fixed. Also, I've heard from a pit worker himself tell me that you not eat at the pit because where they put the food, there's pests. And that is absurd. I think that's crazy. And it's the fact that admin lets that go on. I think that's new. And this is what we do, and this is just what we know. We need to stop, and we need to change now. And I think with that, we bring a better tomorrow today.
Thank you both, and thank you for again staying in time. This time, the question will be for our vice presidential candidates. And start with Dominique. Student government can be the voice for all students on campus. How would you ensure you're receiving feedback from the student body before making decisions or adding change?
Okay, yes. So my first thing I want to address is that when you are leading for the student body, you have to hear from the students. You have to engage with the students. And as a freshman, I have not yet. I've seen events, but I haven't had that connection where I feel like, oh, I can go up to this person. Like I could go up to this person, address the issue, talk to them, engage with them. And that's what we're missing this campus. We have to be able to, first let's talk about the University of Rochester. They get students from all over the world. They bring them to this campus, they bring them to Rochester, and then you're like, wait, what do we do? How do we, how do we incorporate all these different cultures, personalities together? And on top of that, we're living together, and we're like, you saw the food, you're like, wow, the food kind of sucks. And it's like, what did we do? And it's like, we have to have these conversations, we have to hear feedback, but then we also have to go out and seek ways that we can make this change. Because as a freshman, as a sophomore, junior, senior, whoever you are, sometimes you're like, wow, I have my exam, I have time to work. I'm like, I'm not thinking about some of the things, but now it's time to make change. And that's why I'm here today to with Sammy, so we can go back in and close these gaps up together. So one thing that Sam and I talked about was in Google document, and just how people submit stuff and just hear feedback and say, it can be a comment, a concern, a question, you just want to talk, I'm here for it. So that's, I think, one of the things that we're going to try to implement if we can, just getting feedback, and then bringing this to the administration to make a change.
Yeah. All right, so an idea that I really want to push out there and reiterate when dealing with any space in student advocacy is that you have to talk to us and not about us. So that only means that our experience is going to be optimized as a whole student body if we work directly with those that we impact. So kind of just to hit some concrete and tangible and measurable points, again, we will to establish that continuity of emailing the student body, again, bi-weekly or every 2 weeks, for the entirety of our term. This large-scale communication, of course, provides the most pertinent and up-to-date information from SA and projects. And this, of course, is to uphold our values of transparency and accountability, and this can also be used as a track record to hold us accountable and call us out on the issues that we may not be attending to, and again, push that forward. We again want to do this on a regular basis, whether it's by highlighting the most pertinent updates from the university and student life as a whole, as we deserve to know about the matters that concern us directly. Again, we want to continue doing regular town halls on an assortment of topics, and again, make them topical, make them up to date, and make them advocate for our students about current campus issues. Again, and this can always be a collaborative effort because, again, it is always important to work with those that directly impact us and with those that we directly impact as well. Because, again, advocacy is a two-way network and it is a mutual relationship. So that does mean co-sponsoring with an assortment of advocacy and cultural organizations if needed, again, to really push for that DEI and represent all student voices on campus. Again, this can also range from more frequent newsletters, again, from our amazing public relations team that works so hard on pushing all the relevant news and updates out there, as well as probably advocating for a second SA annual survey as well. And although we do have one annual survey that is released each year, this can be supplemental in addition to having smaller surveys through newsletters and Instagram and other platforms that we use. Again, with the value of transparency and accountability and fostering the open space, we want to do more open in-person roundtable discussions with a lot of different centers and stakeholders on campus, rather that be Kearns, the CARE Network, Title IX, and so much more.
Presidential candidates, and this question was submitted prior by a student. So how do you plan to improve the relationship between university administration and the student body?
How to improve the relationship?
How do you plan to improve the relationship between the university administration?
Improving the relationship between the U of R administration and the university body is something it is a daunting task, but it's something that can be done. I think anyone who's looked back at sort of recent U of R history knows Paul Burgett. He used to be a man of the people, a man of the students. We had administrators in these positions, in these top positions that we have an intercultural center named after, that would actively be engaging with students, actively attending events, and going to places where they needed to be. Our administration isn't seen, frankly. I mean, you see some of our student life people, you see Brian, you see Laura, Anne Marie, people around, but that's not existent for most people. I've met people on the second floor of Wallace who never show up to events, have never even talked to a student, like talk to a student once a month. That's not a good thing that should be happening. Again, we have these relationships with administrators, but it's more than just Eliza and I. It's more than just the people in student government. It's the people that are the actual student body, because we can represent voices when they're given to us, and we can elevate voices into the rooms that they're needed, but they need to be actively going to these places where students are and engaging in the things that students want. This will take a lot, but I think an amazing thing that's happening right now is the division of, it's sort of the division of student life. We have a new vice president, John Blackshear, who's building this up from the ground up. It's going to be UHS, dining, housing. It's going to talk about pretty much everything that pertains to student experience here at U of R. But that needs to be done with students. We pledge to work with him diligently on a weekly basis. We'll be talking with John Blackshear, talking with what he's doing. He's going to be having so much under him right now that people acting like he's Superman, but he can't be. That's a hard task for anyone to undertake, and it's remodeling how WCSA functions, how UHS will function, all these super pertinent things to student life. And that's going to be pledged to be a part of, because that needs to happen so that students don't be left out of the picture right now and for the future to come.
Yes, I think relationship with admin and students is very important. One thing I think that needs to happen is admin that fall under student life need to have drop-in hours, specifically where students and the student body can come speak to them. I think we can set that up with like a one-to-me or a Calendly or somewhat like that, but I think that needs to be handled first. Second off, I personally feel like we hired the incorrect admin, because I actually believe Blackshear doesn't want to speak to me through my personal experience, because I've tried speaking to him at an event, and then he tells me, oh no, set up a meeting with my secretary. Your secretary, okay, what's her name? I figure out her name, I can't find her, and I have to send an email, and I'm trying to send an email, and figure out how to speak. And then next thing you know, I have no response. Now I haven't seen him in like months. Where is Blackshaw at? So that's what I really want to see in the community. I want to hear him speak. I want to hear him come out. I want everybody in student life to admin information and let us be able to speak to them.
Sorry. So this next set of questions is for each ticket. There are 2 minutes to respond, and the candidate can use it any which way. So just share it. Okay. So this question, and again, something that has been submitted by students. What should the role of student government be in supporting student organizations? Sam. Government in supporting student organizations.
Okay. So personally, as for WLA and like the other organizations that I've talked to and considered running for, the funding is just very, very low. And it's like you want to make change, but then it's like you have to have money to do that. You know, you have to have the support to do that. And so, you know, the emissions, they may not know about these things that are happening because some of these organizations are running like OSA and different offices. So sometimes it's maybe not brought to their like attention. So if we can have this relationship between student organizations and like the student government, we can build change to like, you know, sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. So you have to have these conversations to be had, and even maybe we can do, you know, some type of event where we can just like you don't know all organizations on campus. Sometimes you just need to, hey, maybe this we split the e-board up. You say, hey, we're gonna work with this organization or this type of this campus to try to just slowly, you know, build the gap. And I think that's what we spoke about before, just trying to make sure like we are having these conversations and then also just building community. Like that's one of my biggest problems. I mean, I can make a whole list, I can read off a paper and tell you that, but I just like talk to you guys. Just talk and say like, hey, I'm feeling you. Like we need to make change because a lot of these organizations, it's happening throughout the like every e-board. Every e-board is having the same concept and trying to get. It's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into one event that people do not know about. I mean, we had one event, it was like first, it was not even, it was our advisor that wasn't getting their paperwork in. And then, but not it's your thought, yeah. Yeah, they were doing their part to make it easier for the students. So if we can find a way to make it easier on the students, that would help out a lot of organizations. Thank you.
You know, stuff, she'll give you a hand signal when you've got like 10 or 15 seconds left, and so then you have an idea that I'll got some time. So, like,
Organizations.
yeah, how should the student government be in supporting student education?
So touching on Donnie's point, actually, I think it's ridiculous that we have different organizations on campus that are under different things. A lot of organizations are under WCSA and student government because we fund everything, but it's mostly WCSA. Things are under OMSA, under currents. People get inadequate treatment and funding based on what center they're under. That needs to change. Under this new reorganization of student life, we need to push for that because that needs to happen. There's organizations that do not get the rights that they deserve because just of where the organization was created some ambiguous time ago. Harkening back to what SA can do, we have two committees in our legislative branch, ARC and SAC, Administrative and Review Committee, and the Students Association Appropriations Committee. They are not advocates. I have worked with these people in these committees, and while they do their jobs great, they do their jobs sort of to the best of their abilities. They get the job done. They do administrate and they do fund organizations. They're not actively changing things for the betterment of what organizations do. Organizations don't stay the same forever. We're in and out of here every 4 years. Organizations change, e-boards change, things we want to do change. Our funding principles, our funding models, the way that we have to update constitutions and change different things that are policies within individual organizations. That all changes and these structures are antiquated. I'm going to work and Eliza will work within our leadership group, within SA, directly with our chairs of these committees to make sure that this work happens. That's integral to their success. And in addition to that, our relationship with organizations, student association government is an organization. And we are opening, but we need to do that more. I pledged to create an executive task force made up of student advocates and leaders from presidents and vice presidents and leaders from awareness and advocacy groups, cultural identity groups from all around campus to have an infrastructure created when things happen, when crises happen, when there's vandalism and Simon that's racist, when there's things that happen and there's protests and DPS are squashing things that they shouldn't be doing. I need a group of people that I can trust from different diverse backgrounds to talk to, and it's important for student government as a whole because we are limited to what we have and we need to be reaching out.
Okay, this is another question that was submitted by a student prior to the debate, and each team will get 2 minutes again to answer this question. How can you see College Town enhancing student experience? Okay.
So we bought College Town a couple months ago, sort of at the beginning of this school year, for over $100 million. That's a lot of money. The UR has that. We set up a different LLC to buy that. So it's tax advantage. We own it. We get all of the revenue from people leasing their businesses for us. This is a major cash cow for the University of Rochester. And I'll be damned if it stays like that and ends up actually impacting student life and outcomes. There's not much to do there. College Town has 4 restaurants. It's got a really expensive Texas State Grill that no one's going to go to. Some hotels. It's got the Mount Hope Walks, which are apartments. Things that really don't impact the undergraduate student life, and that's got to change. I know right now we've heard these big promises from Mike Chahosky and John Blacksher, our vice presidents here, talking about, we're going to use e-books, which is the stupid new name for euros. But e-books, things at College Town, buying things at different restaurants. I don't think that's going to happen, and we're going to hold them accountable to that. We're scheduling a meeting today, I'm meeting right now with Mike Chahosky, with John Blacksher, with people from the president's office, making sure that these changes that they're talking about, when they make changes for our meal plans without consulting us, adding 500 rugby books to option C, things like that that actually impact us. I see real tangible things that we can do with our money in College Town as college students. And I think that needs to happen. These restaurants and these places, we need places for entertainment, movie theater, places where students can go. We're limited by space on the River campus, and College Town is an untapped resource that I think we need to tap into far more. And that's frankly not happening. So
Yes, I actually do quite agree with what you're saying there with that we do need to start involving the college campus life with College Town itself. I think that we see College Town as a whole separate entity, and that is the problem alone. I think that the problem is that you guys do things with with admin, and this isn't told to students. Also, one thing I noticed is on the website, the essay website, the committee meeting minutes are not they're not updated at all. It's 2022, 2023, whereas 2023 to 2024. That's one thing I wonder. It's very weird. One thing though, I think it would be good that we start using for Euros in College Town in a way. I just don't see how that would help other businesses or how they would set and how they would feel. So I do see that being a problem because now we're gentrifying the neighborhood, and I think that would be flawed. But I do see that being low, and it would be safe for citizens. I think that's a big thing that we need to come across and how we walk to.
And I want to talk about too about local businesses in College Town. And one thing that we want to implement is having maybe food trucks or any small business come to campus maybe once a week, so that we can have new food on campus. We have a food problem, maybe just opening up the space for its rights, and then at the same time we supporting the community. I think one thing that a lot of students don't know is that, or maybe they do know, but like Rochester, we are, we have a lot of resources, but outside of Rochester, we should be able to help the community too. And as the student board, we should be able to say, hey, we are in a space where the other people are at a more disadvantage than us, and we should be able to help them too, as a leader at home.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, again, another question where you have 2 minutes for each ticket, so you can choose to answer, right? Particularly fond of this question, I did not make it. This one, having heard all the things, challenges that you may have so far, what do you see as one of the strengths of student life on our campus? And so I would ask this ticket to go first.
One strength I do like is how the students that are involved in these things are very passionate about it. Like I see all you guys here today. I realize every single one of you guys are on essay or sometimes I take some board. So I think that's really good that everyone that's participating in this actually has energy and passion towards it. I think one thing that does happen is some people are just doing this on LinkedIn and just have something nice on their resume. And I think that's one thing that admin uses to get advantage over us, that people will leave out in like 1 to 2 years. And I think that's unfair to us, and they abuse that to the fact that nobody's going to come up and follow up and press them on issues. But I guarantee you won't leave. I'm here to say all three, and I will press every single issue.
And I just want to add that, do you think we have a great variety of organizations on campus? I mean, you can do like any small thing you can think about, to like yoga, to basketball, to signing. I think we do have a great variety, and you have to get the support from each of those organizations.
Yeah. All right, so it's recognized that we do have a multitude of strengths, a lot of student body on campus, and a lot of it is molded by the fact that we have so many distinct lived experiences, which we all should continue to uplift, whether it's through the unification of clubs, alliances, and a lot of coalitions on campus that, again, we do continue to uphold through a lot of activities, and of course, the transparency and the advocacy that we push through with them. I think that's really bold value that a lot of students have here is that we definitely do have a third eye for spaces, and we are able to clearly identify where that impact is necessary. As you can see by a lot of the recent efforts that have been pushed through in our university, we do have a very firm commitment to putting forward a lot of different concrete action items, and definitely the organizations that you see on campus, the e-boards, the constant like events and initiatives that we all push forward, that is the lifeblood of our university, and that is something we should definitely continue to uplift in connection with SA as well. And the code that I want to put out there is that a lot of students here are the embodiment of be the change that you want to see, whether that's through the multiple identities that we upload and intersect with each other. If we want to be a support system for others, if we want to engage in a certain activity or uphold a different value that we may want to share with others as well, and maybe our cultures as well, because that is so integral to uphold on campus, we will create that change. We are able to uphold that space, uplift everyone, and try to engage others in those efforts as well, because again, recognizing and acknowledging and respecting those distinct identities is definitely something that is a really big strength here on campus as well. Because students, again, here, they know that they can truly govern their experiences and take it wherever they want to. They know that whatever they put in is truly what they will get out of it. And so they really do take advantage of that fact, because we're seeing students in these interest-based and cultural-based and so many other different characteristics that we all use. It is one step towards creating that diverse space where we can again break those echo chambers and continue to dismantle those barriers that were previously restricted to us. And I think that the university is continually stepping towards that. And again, this is all tied together by the fact that we have such a collaborative and not a cutthroat environment. And I know that is definitely a value that we continue to seek when we were enrolling here. Thank you.
All right, excellent. You guys are doing very well. Now we are going to move to the audience portion of the questions, and we can't get all of them, but we'll try to get to several of them here. So I'm going to start. You guys are going to start with this one. This is a fun one. What does freedom of speech for students on this campus mean?
Freedom of speech on campus is not what administration thinks it is or is trying to enforce right now. Freedom of speech is what the protest policy was before October. Freedom of speech is not limiting what students can say or do or express themselves. We've seen since last semester administration go after and target Palestinian students and students protesting Palestine repeatedly, and that's not okay. They're trying to enforce changes to the protest policy. They're pushing stuff out from the provost's email, the president's email, because they have ties to the board of trustees and the people that really matter to administration, because they don't want to have their asses on the line. But you know what? That doesn't matter, because we are a free country, we're a free university, and we demand freedom of speech. That is something that I think is important. We have things like the expression tunnel in between East and Quad. You can paint whatever you want there. We have things like there's the Maury bathroom. There are things that students have as concrete places where they can express their freedom of speech on campus. That's extremely important. That doesn't seem to be like the really the highest priority value for administration right now, because they're trying to save their own view and That's not cool with us. We've been working this year to advocate for students as much as we possibly can, having all of these conversations, talking with administration, publicly advertising university communications and town halls. There are things where we try to get the student input to administration, but they keep on batting down and they change things, and that can't happen. Students need to continue to mobilize, continue to advocate, continue to be activists, because what's happening right now is not okay, and it's not something that should stay for the future of U of R.
Yes, to me, freedom of speech is being able to say what you want to say, wherever you want to say it, how you want to say it. Now, with the peaceful protests that are going on, I understand how DPS can be scary due to the fact that I believe they lack training and they lack real requirements and skills to get their jobs. No disrespect to them, but I really wonder about the qualifications to become a DPS officer, because I understand they could be scared, and that's how it is. I believe it's normally an entry-level job according to my research of what, but with that also, I think what happened in Palestine is really sickening. And here we're trying, as students, I believe people are trying to make a change off the fact that they're really tied to it. A lot of Palestinians here on campus, and it's really sickening to see. Like I was at one of the GI, one of the meetings the other night, and a guy was talking shot down. That was really sad to hear, and I feel bad for that. But I do understand from the advocate point of view of listening to what students want, as of trying to take away funding from the school and trying to draw funds away. That's really bad, and it could be bad for us. But one thing I wonder does the administration think about is the fact that can they find this funding somewhere else to keep all these students here while cutting off ties with these people at the same time. But that's just something I would want to discuss with the advocate. I think that would help us feel more settled in our freedom of speech.
The next question, we have this to get started. The question is, what's the specific policy proposal you have to address DEI university-wide or within a specific department?
Yeah. One thing I would want to talk about with DEI is, well, I want to really speak on the fact that us as students, we don't even believe in DEI ourselves. I feel like sometimes. Because, and this is on the past students as well, because 5 years have gone by and there hasn't been a single Black president or VP of SA. That's really crazy to me. I'm not gonna lie, I noticed a lot of you guys here, and all race and things aside, there's no Black people on SA or a lot of fully Black people on SA. And I think we have a large amount of people here within that race that can fill these roles and are more than qualified. Now, I wonder, is it on the fact that they just don't want to be a part of this community due to whatever the reasons are, or maybe they're busy and they have really hectic schedules in their life? Another thing I would want to propose to DEI is trying to help people be more included with the Green Center. So I spoke to John of the Green Center, and he was talking the other day about how this is one of the lowest years for students coming and like being involved in things like that at those certain events. And he said that a lot of people that are coming now are really seniors just from late. And I think the problem with that is that they're not really informed of what it is. I think with Baltimore the other day, I'm not going to close his name because that's really crazy. But in his 2 years here, he said he has never been to the Green Center once. And I find that outrageous. And I believe we can do better on promoting things, or DEI can do a better job on promoting things, and we can as well as students as the SA things. So thank you.
So definitely accessibility. I mean, even I'm a process scholar, and so a lot of administration they came to DC to like actually say like, oh, okay, you're gonna get into this. We have like conversations like that. So they go out to find students of diversity stuff like that. But then when there's applications, you come up, you apply, and then it's just like, why is there only like 2 or 3 people in the SAA that are colored? It's stuff like that where they have the authority to make these changes and they have. Thank you.
So I'll be the first person to say that there's no way that 2 people, no matter who, can represent 6,000 people. I know that from this year, I know that just going forward. And they can't represent them perfectly. But what does matter is who can, and we'll build a team of people from around the university who are passionate and from diverse backgrounds that bring unique ideas, challenge the perspective of the status quo at all times, and that's us.
And just bouncing off of that, I wanted to say that it is fundamentally unjust to expect students to thrive in such an environment in which they haven't been given the appropriate resources or support systems that they inherently need to succeed, especially in environments like this university where the systemic barriers in education have historically widened inequities in student accessibility, representation, and success. And again, we'd like to say that there is truly no one-size-fits-all approach to the student experience. But we can, again, harness our existing resources and capacity to provide those accommodations and acknowledge the distinct identities and backgrounds of the many lived experiences that we have in our students here at campus. And again, DEI should not be a performative measure for us. It is truly a consistent practice that needs to be institutionalized long term. And so we wanted to preface this with some specific initiatives that we've actually completed through the DEI committee, whether this be the fact that DEI trainings are now mandatory for all SA representatives in the upcoming years, and this is further going to be mandatory for faculty as well, as we've been working with the Office of Equity and Inclusion, as well as the Brigham Intercultural Center, as well as the Vice Provost trainings for faculty. And in the next few years, or the next semester rather, we also want to continue collaborating with the current center for specifically the experiences around first generation low income students, whether that's by, again, not talking about these students, but talking to them directly by collecting data and talking to them and gathering their lived experiences and what they truly want to see for their own accommodative lived experiences on campus as well. And again, through, again, my work in accessibility and collaborating with the BCSCEI committee to put out the survey in order to gain more valuable insights. We also hope to institute and continue uplifting the accessibility committee to diversify their recruitment and institute these policies on campus.
We should get to start first with our next audience question. If you get elected, what goal or plan is your highest priority?
Have tonight dropping a 25-page platform of ideas, collaborative both within committees within SA, things for us as executives to do, things to bridge together other university organizations. But if I pick just one, it's extremely concerning to me, like I mentioned before, the division of student life being built from someone who came from outside of Rochester with zero institutional knowledge, just being built like that. And student experience and student engagement, student collaboration has to be a part of that. I'm deeply worried that right now John Blackshear doesn't see that based on the things that he has done, the people that he has collaborated with to make change that doesn't actually represent what students want. That is a huge concern of mine. I will work, and a lot of people will work, and our entire Students Association government will work tirelessly to basically not combating with John Blackshear the entire year, but we're going to be talking to him every single week. He is the director of student life, and our organization is the group that advocates for student life and its core focus. We need to be part of that change. We need to be part of how he reorganizes WCSA, UHS, dining, housing. He's in charge of so much in this new role, and there's no oversight as to what that gets built like. I know there's this unsure unsettling feeling between WCSA and the office of the students. How student orgs will fit into that structure. And that's not being communicated, that's not being collaborated with, and that is our biggest priority for next year, because he's brand new. He's here since January 1st. And to be honest, there hasn't been the outreach, the engagement, or the participation with students that I've seen that needs to happen in order for a division of student life to exist without talking to us first. Thank you.
Yes, so the first thing we want to do is speak to students. And I think it's very important to speak towards what the students want. I believe in the past, the problem with SA is that they go off of what they want to do, and it's their own feelings. And there's no transparency with the students that is like what's going on. Because we don't know anything, there's no disrespect. But it's no like communication of things that are going on and things you guys are talking at and about. Like, no one knows. So it's very weird to me. Another thing we want to advocate for is scheduling a time for renovations, a timeline for renovations for dorms, kitchens, and bathrooms, because I believe they're outdated and they're nasty and disgusting. And it's really crazy. No matter how clean students are, no matter where you go, Gilbert, Kiernan, Burton, Crosby, Jackson, Ford, Hillside, Anderson, everywhere, it's just ridiculously nasty. And I've seen Riverview, and I think that's crazy to me that would just live like this and everybody does it. And I think that there are students out there that feel like their voices be heard, and people guy that's willing to go speak to every single student.
randomly grab these. What does your time commitments look like? And will you be able to really dedicate your time for student body? Thank you.
Asset, thank you so much, because that's something I really want to hit on. One thing I want to make very, very clear about my candidacy is that I make time for things I find very important to me. And one thing is that I'm elected president, I find it's top priorities. And there will be nothing fit above it. Now, with that, I do believe as a student athlete, people trying to say this is hard, this is that, doing all these things. But I think those are people that try to put excuses and try to put limitations on me because it's something that they can't do themselves. And that's one thing that I promise you guys I can do.
Not add something to my plate, I will not go out to seek something, a new opportunity, if I don't think I can handle it. If I can't handle it, I have a gap. So as this role, this is a big role, and the students want to hear from us, and they want to hear from whoever they pick from, and I think that's really important. And I think that that's not a role that you just go over, you just put this on your resume. That's what my biggest pet peeve is, people that put something on the resume and it does not connect. Your reservation connects. Your interest. So I would say that this academics, of course, and this would be like my second priority and over everything else. And I will make sure stuff gets done. No matter what that looks like, I'll make sure everything is done. And I also will hold everyone on the board accountable for their role. I understand stuff happens, but we have to hold each other accountable to get things done.
We have time. We have more time. One other thing that I would like to hit on is the fact that our commitment shouldn't be questioned at all. Because due to the fact that I've even done this, originally I had another candidate that I was going to run with, and I got kicked, and he left me, and it was pretty sucky for me. Luckily, I was forced under 24 hours to find a VP that I felt was right to run with. Luckily, I got blessed with Dominique, and I believe that she's truly committed just as I am to serve with you guys. So I don't think you guys should question our commitment or how much we want this opportunity.
About this position before I even accepted it. I think we both agreed on the fact that this is definitely not an easy position. There's so many things we have to know, the intricate functions, the ins and outs of SA, and not just SA, our student body, our administration, our campus affairs, and so much more. Like the list literally goes on. And I knew before coming here that joining SA was going to be one of the priorities that I truly wanted to engage in, and that was even before I stepped foot on campus. And the main reason behind that is because I truly want to be part of amplifying the student body's voices across all axes across the board. So whether that be health, dining, building those connections between SA and the student body, because clearly there is still a big disconnect with transparency and accountability. Whether that be transportation and advocating for all of the students, workers, faculty, staff here on campus, it truly hits all points across the board. So again, we are committed to working around the clock day and night to making sure that we can amplify those voices and make sure that we can do our best in representing every single lived experience and every single accommodation or background, or again, where that needs to be said here on campus.
So thanks a lot, but for my time commitments for next year, I've done this role before. I know it takes time. It is a painstaking role. It is thankless. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. It is a thankless role, and it takes a lot of your time. I spend 15, 20 hours a week sometimes in this role, and that is a lot. We understand that. While I've been here as an elected official, as a senator and vice president, there have been 45 Senate meetings. I've been to every single one of those. I've been there. I've seen the change. I've seen different administrations. I've seen the time it takes to both run an executive branch to then lead the legislative branch. I know the structure. I know how it works. That is important. That is important to the function of this role, function of how the Students Association works. And we understand that. We're making priorities to make that. I'm taking 12 academic credits next year, and preparing me as my number one priority in everything I do next year.
All right. Now I think it's to stand up. We're going to go over. This is going to be a rapid fire, okay? So again, how rapid fire works is we're going to start. Actually, we don't know if we're going to start with you, the first one, and I'm going to quickly just give you response. You say all are gonna say your answers, and then the next time you're all gonna answer the question, but if that's what you get, so. um, They're fun. They're not, the right. Okay, are you ready? Favorite place to study on campus?
First floor a rush read in that classroom if it's available. If you don't.
I don't see the answer.
Honestly, I love finding just like empty rooms and donuts and studying there, or I like to study in my room.
Like freshman year, definitely everyone was there. This year, I think it's pretty good. I think you guys must have been doing a lot. Not productive.
Then we're talking now, after what I've heard tonight, this question may be harder than we probably originally of this one, but what is your favorite food on campus?
Definitely chicken tenders.
I was gonna say even chicken shatters, but like roast pieces are classic.
It's not the quesadillas.
Y'all, that's sure, but I don't know the Chinese food, but don't go on me, please. With the wet rice and the beef and broccoli.
And I'm gonna start. Favorite way to relax?
I say definitely just supporting myself with a lot of support systems that are here on campus.
I'd say the same answer as last week today. Hannah, Eastman, Lots, and News inside.
You have to come to me for self-care. I do face masks, I do music, I do put on a show with my friends, we just chill, relax, eat food, sometimes I'll like order like Chipotle or something and just chill and make.
Yeah, I enjoy just watching YouTube on the weekend. So I watch a lot of like YouTube content, YouTube interaction.
Your favorite university?
What's that mean?
Favorite university?
Like, I think I have it's Irving for sure.
Like, I love seeing cute. These, but every time I look, I think it's a rat. Chick-fil-A.
I definitely say the yellow jacket that's far down the wood and yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with like Dominic's answer. I definitely think Groundhog is like such a classic to go to.
That start with Dumpy. The favorite U of R giveaway item that you received.
Ooh, those are the tote bags.
I definitely, for me to be kind of different, because I got one of those. He said, "Oh, that's my dad."
That I got today from SAA.
Freshman year, we got these things down. And then also the SAA part get done.
Sammy, what is your favorite book?
I definitely say Designing Your Life. It's a book that it's funny because I do this thing for strategies, which I never for other people, adults, are able to do. That's just a book to me, and I'm going to get sponsored.
I'd say my favorite book is probably One Love the Way I Used to Be. I think it's very eye-opening, very insightful. It's a lot of different like, societal matters that you see on campus, but of course, it's not sugar-coated. It's very transparent and to the point.
It's gonna be very different. I was 3 years old when I had a picture book about wagons, and it's called Grocery Store. It details all of the items, the kids in the boxes, and the carts and all that stuff. And I really like that's a very sentimental book to me. So and things have been in addition to so.
I would say The Coming by Michelle Obama. She came to DC for her tour, and I've been a Girl Scout for like 12 years, and we took our whole troop to go see her, and then somehow they like surprised us, and our books got signed. So I was like, it's like a diver. Yeah.
Okay. This is the last of the festival that we'll start with you, and it's your favorite campus tradition.
Oh. That is even wrong.
Rapid fire.
Retrospect, we get D-Day.
For it's so all community weekends are but my favorite is definitely Memorial Weekend. Getting to drive golf carts around as I say is so fun and getting to meet the speakers and getting to are also awesome. And that's it really cool.
Weekend and our freshman year orientation week, we had like the lanterns and stuff. And I remember you speaking, and it was really powerful. Like such a person that there's all this small stuff, and so I was like, wow, like it was such a becoming moment. So yeah,
For me, I definitely say again due to the fact that I built some connection with them and being able to speak because
Wow. Awesome job. I would like to please give a round of you were very respectful, and very good at asking questions. Really, thank you, all of you that might be viewing from home or your favorite watering hole. We appreciate you coming in and joining us today. And remember, we have some questions outside. You can get to know the candidates even better. And thank you for joining us. You guys did an excellent job. I'm very proud of what we are.
My neighbor was so